Hey everyone, welcome to the Barely Normal Wet Shaver. That would be me, Doug Bear. So, what are we going to do today? I am going to do a short video again on tips and techniques for straight razor. But before I do, I wanted to do a little shout out and call out to Heritage Hills Shaving Company as well as IMCDB Chris. Chris was kind enough to give me this soap. And it is really a very nice performer. I can't say that there's anything lacking from its post, residual, straight up slickness, and the lather that it builds and the density. It's all really up there. It's a fine product. But what I wanted to do was make mention of something that I see more and more happening, and I think it's really special, and that is the give back. When we talk about small businesses and the services they do for communities and the artisans and how they push the envelope and that they're offering things that are very specialized, that they're right for the needs specific to our demands. And there's so much cred to that. The give back is something that really warms the heart. And this company, Heritage Hills Shaving Company, who I believe is just a startup. As far as I know, they have only one scent. This is called the Patriot, which is a lime, bergamot, and patchouli, and it smells great to my nose. And but what I love is they are giving 5% of what they make, and these are two basically college mates. I don't believe they're still in school, but they've known each other at least through that period in time. And are doing this obviously not to make millions of dollars, but out of passion. And that's so cool. But what they are doing is they're giving 5% back to an organization called Hidden Battle Foundation, the Hidden Battle Foundation. And this is an organization that is working with the frontline defenders, responders, or first responders, first defenders, however you want to say it, in this country and what they face, whether they are military, law enforcement, nurses and EMS staff people, fire departments. A lot of these people go through tremendous stress in one way, shape, or form, whether it's physical or mental, and oftentimes one leads to the other with reference to physical injuries and things of that nature. The mental aspect of recovery can be extremely difficult, as I'm sure most of us are at least aware of. So this organization works to help with PTSD and with suicide tendencies and depression. And they also work with the career stress in general. And they have set up and established peer groups, which can be extremely helpful as they testimonialize to each other, as they support each other. And then also for those who have physical injuries, they have service dogs, and also they do therapy. So quite an interesting organization, and one that I'm interested in continuing to follow, and never would have known about them if it wasn't for these two guys by the name of Josh and Brent. So if you look into some of these great little companies and see not only the great performance of the product, but what they give back, man, that means a lot. At least it does to me. So I wanted to share that. All right, so with that said, I'm going to get ready and we'll talk about long stroke versus short strokes, the advantages and disadvantages of each. I think it'll be kind of interesting. Be right back. Hey everyone, back with a different colored t-shirt. Why? It's been 2.5 weeks. That one's in the laundry now. Crazy work, crazy busy. It happens, right? Well, so today, talking about long versus short strokes. That's what we're going to get into here in just a second. But a few things happened in that time span. One is that Heritage Hills Shaving Company now has a number of scents. I believe, don't quote me on this, but I think it's about 6. So as great a soap as I think they are, really nice, and the story and the support that they're giving to that organization, I think it makes it kind of a cool company. Check them out if you're interested. Next, before we start with actually doing the long versus short passes, I'm going to first of all tell you I did my first pass. I want to show this in the second pass, but I cleaned out my brush, so it is a little bit wet. And by the way, this brush is super cool. So this brush is by Andre at Lancaster Razor Works. Andre, if I haven't mentioned it before, he and I are somewhat neighbors. We live about 50 miles from each other. We get together every once in a while. He's in the beginning of my video. We've become good friends. I really enjoy Andre, and this was a project that we just had a blast doing together. It's my fly. I went outside, got some stones, we put it inside the brush, put it together. It was just awesome to do and great to see the process, and his craftsmanship is phenomenal. So with that said, I'm going to take this brush, which has a Maggard's super high density knot in it, and I am going to take the Heritage Hills soap, which is a little bit wet only because I had already lathered, and I'm going to just do, get this, a 10 to 15 second load. That is it. And you can see how quickly I do that. First I'll wet the brush real quick, and that's what I start with when I did my first pass, was just a dry brush, wet it, shook it out, squeezed out every bit of it that I possibly could, and did a 10-second load. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You know what? I'm going to stop at around 8 or 9. That's enough. Okay. Now I'm going to paint it on dry face. That is a really dense start. My point for saying this and doing this is because I think a lot of people overload, and then they have to fight with their water levels, and they keep adding water and adding water and adding water. And I'm telling you, man, that is a dense start with just a 10-second load. Now, I have already done my first pass. I'm not going to spend a lot of time building this lather. I'm going to more or less paint. But you know, what I will do is say, okay, I'm going to do a couple, because there's water deep in this brush still. Just from, even though I shook it out, badgers, super high density badgers especially, will hold water. So I'm going to sacrifice my skin a little bit, but you can see I got some more moisture into that. It's starting to get a sheen. I'm going to add more water so that I can just get it slick enough for a second pass. And hopefully I've made my point. I can go and I can make this really, really voluminous if I want, but I don't. I like, as a straight razor shaver, to make it pretty wet, especially on the second pass. Slickness is king. Okay, there's a decent amount of lather in there regardless. Check that out. Give it a try. Use a few less strokes and just trust that there is enough in that brush. And you know, with synthetic, you could do it with probably a 5-second load. I kind of just go by a 10 count and done, you know, 10 swirls and done with a synthetic. So I don't really know how long that is, but something to try, something to have some fun with, see what you think, see what it does. Every soap will be a little different too. When you get these really high concentrated type of soaps, obviously it doesn't need as much. And that's why I would rather start with less and add than put too much in and just have to mess with the lather and not really get it right until maybe your second pass. So just something to kind of toy and play around with. All right, long versus short with an awesome new tool in my den. This bad boy right here, formerly known as Kai's Mini from Max Sprecher, is now known as Doug Bear's badass Mini. I love minis because I have a real extreme angle to my chin line, jaw line, and with longer blades it gets a little bit tougher. But with that in mind, I think that's where I'll be able to show to you all how a long versus short stroke can be advantageous. Now when you watch somebody like Matti, Lindholm, what a touch. I mean, he is fast as blazes. His consistency and his touch is on par. It's phenomenal. But as an intermediate or beginner, what I would say is the fewer times you have to go back to addressing the edge to your skin, the better. And also trust your edge. You know, why not do this longer passes, the longer strokes, and see what happens. There are going to be some times in some areas in your face where maybe your beard has a star type pattern and you need to buff it. Or maybe you have, like I do, these extreme angles and it's a little tough to manipulate the blade the way you want it to. But I found that I can do it. And in fact, I will show you one side with longer strokes and one side where I like to use shorter strokes. So let's take a look. Start with the edge, you know, lightly in contact with your face. Bring the spine in contact with the skin and then just slightly move it away, just a little bit, and come up with a nice, easy, long stroke that rolls over the edge and top. Okay? So that's the long stroke. And you can see how in that stroke how I was like this and then I forced this part of the blade to come in against the skin so I could come up to the jawline, and then I bring it back more in line with my cheek to finish. That's a good long stroke right there, if I may say so myself. That's how you want to address the face when you're doing that. Now, if you're going to use the shorter strokes, let me do it on the other side. I'm going to do it with my other hand. So I'm going to come up and again touch the spine right here to my face, to my skin. Just lightly lift and really have a super light touch to the blade. And I'm going back and forth, up. Okay, so that's the shorter stroke. How many times did I make contact with my face? Move it away from my face, bring it back, drop it down, bring it up. You know, a lot. So that's risk. Does it work? Is it efficient? Heck yeah, man, it is. I would say from the standpoint of removing beard, it probably is more efficient. When I am doing this section back in here, switch hands again, this is an area where I have, like here, I have two places where I have growth going in every which way possible. So what I do is I will come through, roll it with a long stroke, and then I come back and do these little short strokes like this to get that, because I find it necessary. But you have to remember to start with that spine really close to the face, if not right up against your skin, and then slightly remove it and then use that light touch. And it takes, you know, muscle memory, kinesthetic awareness, as I said previously. Muscle memory is required. When you watch Matti go at it, man, it's because he's been doing it for a while. He just knocks it out with those short strokes. So give that some thought. In addition to these long and short strokes, something else I want to talk about. Let me just knock this out real quick. Here's the short stroke where I use it here. Bring it back through. Oh yeah, nice. Is this. So there's been a lot of discussions going on about, you know, sink full of water, running water, towels, all of that type of stuff. I challenge you guys to try a sponge sometime. Reason being, A, you'd never hear running water with me because I don't need to. B, I don't have to worry about porcelain getting, or my blade smacking up against the porcelain. C, I don't have to clean a towel and worry about that mess. I just rinse it out, hang it to dry, maybe every once in a while put a little soap and water to clean it, but it's so low maintenance. So give it a thought. This is Dr. John's. This is a really cool natural, and it has a little rope so I can hang it to dry if you want to. I just think it's efficient. It works really, really well. Cleans off the blade super nicely. Something to think about, guys. So No, I'm not done. I got one more thing for you. I want to talk about my friend again, Andre's towels. So actually this is a white towel, but I've been bleeding a lot lately, so no, actually it is his new dyed color. And his drop is going to be coming soon. He's just got some personal things happening in his life that he has to get under control, work-wise and family-wise, but I think everything is fine. I just saw him just recently. But I want to say something about this towel as well. Yes, there are different lower price point towels out there, and I'm sure they work fine, but Andre worked extremely hard to find the highest quality, most absorbing microfiber that he could. And apparently there are very regulated specs on these things, so you can identify the good, better, best, and he went for the best with the quality of this thing, and he dyes them, and he puts the time into stamping this, which is the most convenient, cool way to hang these things. So not saying that it's that the others don't work, but I believe this is the best for your money, and you're supporting a very, very cool guy. So that's enough of my preaching for the day. Hope you have a great weekend, and till the next time, peace out, boys and girls.